So there are countless YouTube videos out there where people rank F1 tracks through some sort of tier list system, but there's always a big flaw where they have their bias and they put tracks like Monaco in S tier because of the historic factor or the beauty, but I think there's a little bit more to it, and I think I have a solution. So what I've done, I've created an Excel spreadsheet here that has all the tracks and a little picture to help you if you forget the layout. And so basically there's three categories. There's racing, which is ranked 1 to 20, atmosphere, which is ranked 1 to 5, and looks, which are ranked 1 to 10, based on kind of how important that is to the spectacle of F1. So let's just take Bahrain right here. So racing is 14. Let's say I think actually it's horrible racing, put in a 2. You can see it automatically calculates into the tier list system and ranks it lowest out of all the other tracks. So instead of going over every single track, I'm just gonna highlight my lowest and interesting midfield one and my number 1 track. So let's start off with Miami, which I just pulled from down on the list and brought up here so you guys could see it. So for the racing, I think it's below average, not too much action on track. Atmosphere, it is a US track, so there is a little bit more buzz than other tracks. Track looks, this is where it really goes low on my list. I think Miami is such a cool city that they could have done it in a lot cooler spot, like more by the water instead of having that fake tacky water with the boats in the marina. Also just the track, like there's nothing to distinguish it. It goes under a freeway. It's like there's a canal next to it. It does have the big stadium section, which is cool, but Hard Rock is just an outdated stadium. So that's just why it ranks so low on my list. So a midfield track that I want to highlight is Imola, because I feel like if I was rating these tracks not through the system I made, it would have gone a lot lower on my list. But now looking at it through this way, I think it makes sense. So starting with the track looks, it is a pretty track. It's in lush green Italy. A lot of greenery around the track. It's usually in the springtime, so you get a little bit of flowers blooming. You have a little bit of elevation too, which helps with that. Atmosphere, it's Italy. You got the Ferrari Mafia there. It's not as much as Monza, but it's good. Like you see the flares, you see the fans, all that, red everywhere. And then for the racing, I feel like people shit on this track more than they should. I actually don't think the on-track racing is that bad. And I think is why it kind of came up in my rankings is because it does fairly well in all categories. And that will push it up pretty far in my list. Last, but certainly not least, rounding out the top of my tier list is Japan, also known as Suzuka. Just a goated track. I mean, the racing is fantastic, especially when there's a little bit of rain mixed in. Atmosphere, great fans. They always come out strong and they have like their little hats and everything. It's almost like Halloween for them. Track looks beautiful. The classic historic figure 8 track. You got the elevation. You have the S's. There's just so much good and so little bad about this track. And I feel like for everyone, it's no surprise it ranks at the top. Thank you for making it this far in the video. If you want to try out this Excel template yourself, feel free to hit the link in the description. My name is Aiden. Goodbye.